Well, most of you, as you move around in your physical time-space reality, you're really a mixed bag. You feel good about some things, you feel bad about some things. You allow good things to happen in some areas of your life. You disallow good things to happen in other areas of your life. And the reason you do that is because you are mostly offering your vibration in response to what you're observing. You've got what is itis. Or you're offering your vibration in response to what someone has told you would be a good idea for you to think. In other words, you began practicing a thought early on as you watched your parents struggle, or as you saw some injustice that they were talking about. You train your vibration by your attention to the subject. Everything that you look at, everything that you observe, everything that you sense is already offering a vibration. And the more of your attention that you give to it, the more you practice the frequency of it until you make it your own. That's what beliefs are. Beliefs are just thoughts you keep thinking. Now, sometimes our physical friends will say, but Abraham, these beliefs are true. And we say, most beliefs are true, and quickly true. Because when you give your attention to something, you make it true. Because you get what you think about, whether you want it or not. So when somebody says to you that such and such, cancer or AIDS, is a fact of life, and then they show you the facts, and you give your attention to that, you let your attention to what is and the facts that they have presented to you, you let those facts into your vibration. And as you practice the vibration of them, now you perpetuate the fact itself. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not use as our criteria for giving our attention to something the truth of it, because there are so many things that are true that you do not want to experience. We would use as our criteria how it feels when we focus upon it. We would use as our criteria, if we were standing in your physical shoes, how it feels as we give our attention to it, because how it feels as we in our physical body give our attention to it would give us moment-to-moment feedback about how source feels about the same subject. In other words, when you focus upon some horrible, unwanted thing and you feel awful, it's not because source thinks that that horrible, unwanted thing is nice. It's because source is not focused upon that horrible, unwanted thing. And when you do, you're not a match to where source is focused. Every subject is two subjects. It's like picking up a big stick, and on one end of it is wanted, and on the other end of it is unwanted. And when you focus on unwanted and you feel awful when you do, that's your indicator that source, your source, the source within you, is focused on the wanted end of that stick. And when you're focused on the unwanted end, you have affected a vibrational frequency within yourself that not only is going to, by law of attraction, bring you the unwanted thing eventually if you stay focused upon it long enough, but in this moment, this is the most important thing, in this moment of negative emotion, you are depriving yourself of alignment with who you are. You are not the full, flowing, frisky, good-feeling, vital, alive being that you were born to be. You've pinched yourself off from all of that energy that creates worlds. And you're standing in irritation and confusion and out of focus. You're standing in confusion and anger and hurt and blame and guilt. You're standing in disconnection from the fullness. Disconnection is slightly too strong a word because you can never really disconnect from who you are. But you can pinch it off pretty good, and you know you're doing it because you feel miserable every time you do. We want to reintroduce the concept of pre-paving. Pre-paving meaning watch for a moment when you're in the vortex, and in that moment make your plans. Because the plans made from in the vortex are infinitely more powerful than the plans made from outside the vortex. If we were sitting to meditate and and it was difficult, we'd say wrong time. It's equivalent to planning a better breakfast while you're eating one that disappoints you. In other words, if it's hard, you're barking up the wrong tree. Stop it. In other words, you might as well just go beat someone up. Well, you know what we're talking about. In other words, the struggle doesn't help anything. So when you say it's hard, we say then stop it. Anytime you say this is hard, now most people would say, oh, push through, and you'll make it through the struggle. But that's not what happens. What happens is sooner or later you have to sleep. Sooner or later you can't hold that focus. Sooner or later some sweet person is going to smile at you and you're going to feel an in the vortex moment. In other words, don't try to make it happen when it's not happening easily. Back off. And you knew that when you were children. When Dad was in a bad mood, that's not when you ask for the car. You knew better. You knew better. When he was in a bad mood, you stayed clear. You made yourself invisible. Didn't you? So this conversation is about trying too hard. And this is what this conversation is about trying too hard. It's about trying to make something happen from a vibration that isn't cooperating. It's trying too hard. And so then you offered the conversation about you were in a real vibrational struggle. In fact, it was such, we're talking about when you were 17, it was such that there was no way out as far as you could identify it. You could not identify a way out, but you wanted with everything that you were a way out. And so you'd launched it into the vortex. The way out was there. The way out was the releasing of resistance, but you couldn't see it because you were so engulfed in the struggle that you couldn't see it. And so here's the point that we're wanting to make with all of you, and you will enjoy this as you hear it. So when you know what you don't want, you launch a rocket about what you do want. But if you're really involved in what you don't want, blogging about it, having conversations about it, going to chat rooms about it, talking to friends about it, or just thinking about it in your own mind, then you're not going to the improved place. And so don't worry, it will get bigger. And as it gets bigger, so does this get bigger. As what you don't want gets bigger, what you do want gets bigger. So the stakes get higher and higher and higher, because the more you know what you don't want, the more you know what you do want. But the more you've practiced knowing what you don't want, then the more uncomfortable what you do want is. Have you ever said, I wish I didn't want that, I felt better before I did? Because before I wanted it, I didn't notice not having it. Now I want it, it's painful not to have it. And so the stakes get higher and higher and higher and higher until eventually there is in other words, here is a truth that people have discovered. It goes like this. If my desire is strong enough, it can override my beliefs. If my desire is strong enough, it can override my beliefs. That's what happened to you. Your desire was strong enough and it overrode your beliefs. But it's a very rough ride. So what we're asking all of you is, how much pain are you willing to endure between the I know what I don't want and I know what I do want? In other words, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we'd know what we don't want and we'd know what we do want, and we'd talk about what we do want until we got it. And then we'd know what we don't want, and then we'd know what we do want, and then we'd talk about what we do want until we got it. In other words, we would not try to pay any big price of struggle, because it doesn't make any difference. There are many ways to evolve in this experience. You can focus on what you don't want, which causes your inner being to focus on what you do want, and then you can focus further on what you don't want, which causes your inner being to focus upon what you do want, and you can focus still further on what you don't want, which causes your inner being to focus on what you do want, until you can't maintain your existence in this body, and then you'll release, and the vortex will take you in, and in one fell swoop you will reclaim all that you've created. That's one way of going about it. It's a very drastic, dramatic, perfectly acceptable, not a thing wrong with it, except it's miserable way to go about it. Or you can know what you don't want. Your inner being knows what you do want. You can want to feel good. You can have tasted the sweetness of alignment, and you can be willing to feel good regardless of what other people are thinking or saying about it. And you can reach for the thought that feels best and come into alignment, and then you can know what you don't want and know what you do want, and come into alignment and know what you don't want and know what you do want. And you can have the same sort of powerful evolution that someone who struggled had. You just had a joyful life in the process. Right. And what we really want to put to all of you as humans, we would like to ask a question that you will answer in a vivid way of yourselves. Where did you get this idea that you have to struggle your way into your expansion and evolution? In other words, where do you get that stuff? Nothing in the wholeness of who you are is teaching you that. It must be that you're listening to other strugglers and it's all they know to teach. In other words, because in a very mediocre world where you're just hacking out a few physical manifestational privileges, then the struggle might pay off more than the not struggle, in the sense that you can gather more toys and you can get more money along with your stress and strain and all of that. But when you take the big picture into consideration and you factor the joy factor in, you factor the life factor in, you factor the source factor in, there's no place for struggle in that bigger picture.
Right.
And you had the benefit of being shown the bigger picture when you were very, very young. And now it's coming into alignment in a way that you can understand it. So we're just going to give you a series of very potent, powerful statements. There is no gain worth talking about in pain. There is no gain worth talking about when you're in pain, because the entire time you are in pain, you're holding yourself in the resistant stance that does not allow the receiving of the legacy that you've already carved out. The way we tell the story is 3 steps to the creative process. Step 1 is ask, and life causes you to do that. Step 2 is source doesn't just answer, source becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you've asked for. And step 3 is you got to find some way somehow to come into alignment with what you're asking for. Can you feel what non-physical is like in a new and vivid way? And do you get that it's only an emotional journey away for you? And have we convinced you that you are vibrational in nature? And can you feel a new desire moving within you of aligning with the fullness of who you are? Do you feel a new appreciation for the contrast that maybe at the beginning of this gathering you thought you could do with a little less of? Don't you like the expansion that is being born for you, through you, by you? Aren't you willing to let go of the pettiness of physical life that's sort of been bogging you down and holding you back? Aren't you just eager to start loving, which is natural to you, and living that love which is natural to you? Don't you find yourself just exhilarated about the idea of being source energy in physical form, moving around this physical time-space reality for the express purpose of taking thought beyond? Don't you just adore being such important catalysts to the expansion of this universe? Don't you feel proud for the part you've played? Don't you just love the others with whom you share your planet? And isn't their variety and diversity just the most wonderful thing? Don't you just love in ways that you cannot even define in words the balance that all of the different beliefs and interests and desires hold? Can't you feel the power of that balance? Don't you just love that out of all of that variety is born this vibrational reality that is the future of that which you call life on planet Earth? Doesn't it feel good to you that you are fulfilling your purpose in the way that you meant, that you came into this body and that you exposed yourself to the contrast and that you have been part of the expansion? And don't you just love knowing that not only have you been an important part of the expansion, but that you can make your claim on the expansion that you've carved out here and now? Don't you love knowing the eternal nature of your being? Don't you just love knowing that you will never, ever, 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 ever come to an end? Don't you love knowing that you didn't come here to get something done, but instead you came for the thrill and the joy of being part of the process? Don't you just want to walk up to all people in all parts of the world, no matter where they stand and what they're doing? And don't you just want to say to them, thanks for your part. I don't really understand your life. I don't even know where you come from. I don't even understand why you want what you want. But thanks for being the different part that plays the different role that adds to the future that we are all about. Don't you want to say to everyone, I'm glad to know that this vortex of creation that we have all carved out has well-being of such huge proportion that none of us, even if all of us collectively, humanly, got out of the vortex at the same time, that we could not set off the balance of well-being that is certain for all of us? Don't you love knowing that life will continue to 20,012 and beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond?